Hi, I'm Ruth Sharon, and I'm here with my beloved Jim Sharon.
I've been married to this lady for 50 plus years.
Wow.
We've worked together about 46 of those 50 years in various projects. Worked with thousands of couples, as well as individuals, of course. I shouldn't say of course, but the reason we're focusing on couples is we have recently written a couple relationship books. Very recently, as in last month, published Heartwise, Deepening and Evolving Love Relationships. And this book not only includes our own chapters, but those of 14 other experts from around the United States.
Isn't she pretty? I love her so much. Hope you get her on Amazon, tinyurl.com/heartwisebook. Look for her on Amazon and enjoy. So today's gift to you is a little demonstration.
I'm going to let you do that demo and then I'll jump in after.
All right, see you in a minute. All right, so I've constructed this little vessel that is we're imagining is our life energy, our heart energy, our desire to live, to be alive. Some of you know us through Energy for Life. And so this is a demo. So pretend this cup is like our bodies. And we're filling up with this life energy, who we are, our identity, our skills, our talents, our hopes, our dreams, everything about us, our physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, filling up our entity, our self. And how does it feel when we're full? When we're just filled with life energy? Feel that for a moment. I feel radiant and calm and on purpose and true and excited and humbled and all those. So think about how you feel when you're filled. And then we have stressors. This is a pin, maybe you can see it. So what are some of these stressors? You might think of them, call them out if you'd like. Sometimes we have stress around time. Do we have enough time to get everything done? Do we have enough money? Money's a big stressor, right, Jim?
Yeah, we're leaking all over the place.
Oh my gosh, can you see this? So this pin is our stressors, and it's just creating...
It's just wetting our book.
Oh dear. It's creating a lot. So relationships can be a stressor. We don't feel accepted. We don't feel loved. We don't feel understood. We feel deeply lonely, even in a relationship. These are stressors. And when the stresses become so great that we don't feel like we're handling them well, we may feel very, depleted, depressed, anxious. We just feel so poked full of holes that we're just leaking all over the place. If you think of the body language of that just makes me want to curl up and go to bed. You know, it's just hard when there's so many stressors. So what I've uncovered over the years and years of being alive and working with so many people is that we need to reinforce our cup so that we can become stronger. We can seal this cup. We can do practices and change attitudes and develop skills so that we're not leaking. We're actually sealing and healing from our childhood traumas, from our programming. We have this old paradigm. And when we're shifting to a new paradigm of taking care of ourselves, self-care, we have a gap sometimes when we don't have the old method working anymore. We're worn out, especially during these challenging times. And we don't have the new things set in place yet. So Jim's going to share some of these new ways we can be, that we can be more heart-wise. We can take care of ourselves in a way that really works for us and works in our relationships. So take it away, Jim.
Da-da-da-da. So what we're looking at here really is becoming more resilient so that we can rebound from these stresses, we can recenter ourselves. And emotion lives in the body, so emotion and tension. So we want to start really with the physical by making contact with ourselves initially, with our bodies. And there's a procedure that's commonly called body scan. So let's start with that. Now just mention some of these things to you rather briefly. Beginning just with closed eyes. You don't always have to close your eyes, but this is a great way to attune, and especially initially when you're learning to do this. And just noticing your breath, for starters, not trying to fix it, just observing and noticing what a great feedback mechanism the breath is. It will always give you some information about your current state. Going from there into looking at what parts of your body are relaxed in the midst of this tension or distress. And then where exactly does the tension live at the moment? Noticing perhaps points of pain, other sensations, which parts are energized. And so you're getting this feedback without making any particular effort necessarily to shift it. Because a lot of times just by observing something, it shifts itself. And you can become more and more adept at this. I can do this sometimes in a matter of literally 5 seconds and recenter myself. So it's a really good starting point. Excuse me. And there's many different breath techniques to use. I'm going to mention one that I and my clients find particularly effective. I call it 5-5-5. So you're inhaling for 5 seconds, belly, lower belly, solar plexus, chest, upper chest, then holding at about the level of the shoulders for 5 seconds, and slowly releasing, exhaling, chest, gut, or solar plexus, belly, and lower belly, 5 seconds each, taking a few seconds, few normal breaths before repeating for another cycle so you don't hyperventilate, then a few more normal breaths after that second cycle. And after about 3 cycles, and certainly by 4, you ought to be feeling much calmer and even noticing some changes not only in your body, but in your mind. So that's a particularly good approach. There's another simple one that's Lamaze-like, if you've ever done childbirth or witnessed it. It goes something like this. So just a few of those kind of sharp inhales and then through the nose and then blowing out through the mouth can be very helpful. Different kind of stretches are good. A particularly good one, if you know yoga, is called the fountain, where you're getting up like this on your toes, taking a breath before you do that, and then breathing a few times when you're up on your toes and then slowly coming down. But when you do any kind of expansive movement like that, side to side, the same, or stretching down, any of these stretches can release tension, as can isometric kinds of things. One called progressive relaxation, which is basically isometric, where you're tensing a muscle group for about 6 seconds, fist, shoulders, gut, or even some of the subtle ones like your forehead. Suddenly releasing, noticing the difference, and trying not to tense any other parts of your body that are not proximate to the ones that you are tensing. And that trains you in both observing what you do to your body ordinarily and exaggerates that, as well as releasing tension in the process. So it's a great little physical exercise to do. Sometimes, particularly if you're angry and you need to release tension quickly, this is a great thing to do, or hitting down, or you can even hit a bed or a pillow. This is much more constructive than hitting a wall, right? You hurt your hand, you put a hole in the wall. So that's a very quick means of releasing anger. So these are all effective, and sometimes nature walks are wonderful. You can, especially if you use your senses and look around, macro and micro, you can look up at the sky, observe the trees, look down at, notice the markings on rocks or the petals and flowers. So this, along with the physical exercise of walking, can be very, very relaxing and tension relieving. If you're a runner, well, if you're angry, you can walk very briskly. I wanted to say that first. But if you're a runner, you can certainly release a lot of endorphins, which create instant relaxation and mood changes. So those are some of the physical methods that are very, very helpful. And once you do release some of your And I'm thinking actually I want to add one more, okay? Because this is a little bit different, where you can surround yourself in an orb or a bubble of light. And when you do that, you might use white or gold light, and just imagine being nurtured by those rays of light that are gently penetrating you. Sit there for a minute or two in that light. You might even associate a word with that state of relaxation, such as peace, tranquility, beauty, strength, anything that really uplifts you and deeply relaxes you at the same time. So those are some initial ways to begin to calm down and re-energize. At that point, and some of these things can go very quickly, you're just using some of the methods I mentioned, not all of them, then you can start to work with yourself mentally and more effectively. Because a lot of times we have what's called emotional reasoning, which is a type of cognitive distortion that doesn't allow us to accurately see something. We think because we feel it deeply, it must be true. It must be so. Ruth is laughing. You know, it's so prominent, so common. So once you become aware of that, like just because I'm feeling this, like let's say jealousy is a great example. That doesn't mean that the fantasies in my head are true. And then you try to shift your perspective and just, see this in a whole different light. Some different vantage points about what else can be true, some alternative types of thoughts. Once you then are able to be more rational and calm down, then you're in a good place, if necessary, to reapproach your partner and say, okay, if we were having some conflict, if we were fighting some, now I'm in much better shape to talk with you. And I try to use some I messages, talking about I feel this, I need this, I want or desire something. Even I value, or I request, which beats the heck out of complaining. I request. Very disarming to do this. So those are some tools that I wanted to make you aware of, and hopefully you can appreciate some of those and really get derive some benefit from those.
See why I love this guy so much?
Why do you love me so much? What, because I can stand here and talk to these people?
Yay! Yeah, so what we're talking about is being able to have a lot of self-care and couple care. And we call that heart-wise, that when you come into the station beyond codependency and playing off each other and, getting all tangled up, I stand autonomous. This is me and this is you. Here we are standing autonomously. And then we can co-create this us space, this place where we join. So we're not trying to get all glommed together and we're not avoiding staying apart. We're consciously and intentionally creating this us space that has the qualities of being heart-wise, which are listening and being compassionate, being understanding, coming into an alignment so that we're on the same page. So these are big tasks to go from our old patterns of feeling like we're just leaking all over and traumatized to being more conscious in our relationships.
So developing a sweet little Venn diagram.
Yes. So check us out, heartwise.us. Sign up for our newsletters, our updates. We're creating Heartwise community for people to come together who are in committed relationships or really desiring to be in committed relationship. And we also are creating Heartwise Relationship Academy with courses and online programs that are pre-recorded so you can watch them at your leisure. So get on our newsletter and stay in touch. Thanks so much for being here. Heartwise.us. Jim and Ruth Sharon, signing off.
Signing off.